Patients and families are Stoughton Hospital's #1 priority. To provide trusted health information to our patients and community, we present Stoughton Hospital Health Talk with Melanie Cole.
We hear so much about protein and carbohydrates, but are we as Americans getting enough fiber? My guest today is Autumn Kumlienm. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist at Stoughton Hospital. Welcome to the show, Autumn. So tell us, what is fiber? Where would we find it?
Okay, well, fiber, we need to kind of start at the beginning. A lot of people know it as roughage, so it's that indigestible part of plant foods that pushes through our digestive system and absorbs water along the way and then helps us to easily pass bowel movements. But also, fiber has many other good things that contribute to our health, preventing heart disease, for example, by lowering our cholesterol levels. Diabetes, also very preventable for that and helping to control blood sugar levels. Digestive problems. Adequate amounts of fiber from foods can help prevent the constipation, as we mentioned, but also hemorrhoids or diverticulosis. And then also very helpful for weight gain prevention. So it can help you feel fuller longer and help you take in less calories overall. So fiber, we know it's an essential nutrient. However, Americans are not getting enough of it. We do recommend that women aim for about 25 grams of fiber per day, while men need to target about 38 grams. If you are in the age groups of over age 51, we recommend for women 21 grams per day and men 30 grams per day. So consuming enough of it may be easier than you think. Sometimes that sounds awfully daunting, that number, but there are great many natural food sources of fiber. You know, we're talking about fruits and vegetables as being one of the main sources, but also whole grains. And then the fiber that we find in our beans and lentils, nuts, and seeds, for example. So typically, the more refined or processed a food becomes, we know that the lower the fiber content is in there. So example would be one medium apple that contains its peel would give you about 4.4 grams of fiber. Well, if you consumed a half a cup of applesauce, that drops it down to 1.4 grams. And in relation to juice, so apple juice, so 4 ounces of apple juice, it wouldn't have any fiber at all. So eating the whole fruit, you're going to get the most fiber benefit. Also, adding more whole grains to your family's meals is another smart move that you can do. Not only do they contain the fiber that we need, but also vitamins, nutrients, and minerals also to help to keep you healthy. So grains, we know that there's two grains. We have our refined grains and our whole grains. So we want to encourage everybody to do the whole grain because the whole grains have the bran, the germ, and the endosperm all still intact. So you get the fiber, you get the B vitamins, as well as the starchy part of the grain. When we refine our grains, we strip away that bran or that fiber level. We take away the germ or the fat of the seed, the B vitamins, and all we're left with is the white starchy part of the grain. So we're missing a lot of health benefits when we choose whole refined grains over whole grains. So American dietary guidelines do recommend that we consume at least half of our grains as whole grains. I typically will encourage all your grains. It's not very difficult to do if you think about easy substitutions. So if you typically like pasta, try to pick a whole grain pasta. If you like rice instead of white rice, pick brown rice, and including obviously more fruits and vegetables as well.
So now tell us a little bit, Autumn, about the different types, because people hear of different, they hear, insoluble, soluble, they hear psyllium, they hear all these different types of fiber when people are in the media, the fiber supplements. So if they are not able to necessarily get them from the plant-based products you're discussing, what are all these different types and where else should they look?
Well, typically, a lot of those are recommended for regularity, and when we're talking about like the Metamucils and different things that are components in those. So definitely the food component is going to be better because fiber found naturally in nutritious whole foods, they have not found to have the same benefits. For example, a feeling of fullness may not result if you're taking a fiber supplement versus if you're eating the fiber-enriched food. So if you're, missing out on getting your fiber from whole food sources, you're also missing out on other essential nutrients as well. So the key is to use those products for more regularity, but still including fruits and vegetables, and then also pushing the fluids as well, because you need to make sure that you keep things moving along and prevent constipation. If you're just eating a whole bunch of fiber and don't drink water along with it or fluid, you could do the opposite effect and get constipated instead. So definitely the whole foods to get all the other benefits that they provide as well.
And they talk about foods like celery, which people like to say comes out the same way it goes in, and that those certain kinds of foods are better. Tell us about those real rough fibers.
Sure. Yeah, those are the indigestible fibers. So basically, yes, they kind of go out like corn. They come out the same way intact as they went in. So they don't, insoluble, I should say. So all of them are indigestible, but insoluble versus soluble. So those types of things are insoluble. Your body cannot break them down completely, so they do come out that way. But yes, the more roughage has been now found, and in the past as well, but maybe more research showing it, been preventative for colorectal cancer or colon cancer, so helping to prevent, keeping the colon clean and sweeping everything through there with fluids and fiber to keep a healthy GI tract, which also brings us to talking a little bit about the prebiotics, because the prebiotics, being natural non-digestive food ingredients or fiber sources that bacteria use to survive and grow, they help the bacteria in your gut. So they're good bacteria promoters. They may improve GI health, as I mentioned, and potentially enhance calcium absorption and reduce that colon cancer risk. So what they're finding, looking at even high levels of prebiotics in milk, may decrease inflammation, improve immune systems, and decrease your risk of colon cancer. So they're looking also at other types like legumes, beans, peas, and lentils to see if the prebiotics that are found in them, may have the same effects. But encouraging you to eat bananas and onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, artichokes, whole wheat foods, obviously, soy foods, that type of thing.
Autumn, some people say, oh, I can't eat fiber because I get too gassy. What do you say to them?
Well, definitely increasing fiber. You need to do it gradually, and as I mentioned, with plenty of fluids. So it is definitely, it's kind of like a new sponge. It needs water to plump up, and if you consume more than usual and not enough fluid, you may get gassy, constipation, nausea, that type of thing. So definitely slowly, but just try simple things, switching your regular refined cereal to a whole grain cereal, or instead of white bread, trying to find a whole wheat bread. And that's another thing that we need to mention, too, is some people think if it's brown, it means it's whole wheat, or if it's white, it means that it's refined, and that's not always the case. You definitely do need to read the nutrition facts label to determine if that food does contain the proper amount of fiber in them. So finding the whole grain breads, for example, takes some label reading skills, but definitely getting a variety there, but again, slowly introducing that fiber.
And I've always felt that fiber is one of the dieter's best friends, really helps you to keep everything moving and feel full. What about snack foods and even for children? Where can we find fiber in our snacks?
And you can do the same thing, finding the whole grain foods. When you're looking for crackers, always look for the whole grain crackers. Choosing the whole grain bread, just because the bread is soft, again, doesn't mean that it's not whole grain or whole wheat. So definitely reading those, and there's lots of great varieties out there, but fruits and vegetables is being the main thing, and especially with children, because we do worry about that with vegan children. If they are really bulking up on all these really high fiber foods, they're filling up awfully fast, and they might not have room for all the nutrients that they need. So again, doing so in moderation, but including fruits and vegetables as their main core, and the whole grain crackers and that type of thing with their food and their meals.
So in just the last few minutes, Autumn, and it's such great advice. Give us the best advice about incorporating more fiber into our diets, as we do not get enough as a society, and the best ways that we can do it, and why they should come to Stoughton Hospital for their nutrition care.
All right. Well, simple things you can do for your family, obviously starting with breakfast. Choose that fiber-rich whole grain breakfast cereal. You could do oatmeal, whole grain toast. Again, check the fiber per serving. So the more fiber is going to make you feel fuller longer. So we do recommend 2 grams of dietary fiber or more per 100 calories. So it's a kind of a good rule of thumb. Again, choosing whole grains over the refined grains when you're choosing breads, buns, bagels, tortillas, pastas, etc. Experiment with different grains. Try buckwheat or bulgur or millet or quinoa or whole rye or barley, for example. You can use them in lots of side dishes. And again, choosing the whole grains as snacks. So 3 cups of whole grain air pop popcorn contains 3.5 grams of fiber and only 95 calories. So that's an easy substitution. Or whole wheat crackers, Y crackers. So doing all those things, and the lovely things that are also natural, as we talked about, fruits and vegetables and berries and avocados and nuts and seeds and beans, all those great sources of fiber. So hope that people get some good information here, and do come to Stoughton Hospital for your nutrition talks and your wellness tips.
Fantastic. It's such great advice. Thank you so much for being with us. You're listening to Stoughton Hospital Health Talk. And for more information, you can go to stoughtonhospital.com. That's stoughtonhospital.com. This is Melanie Cole. Thanks so much for listening.